No idea what that means.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Happy Saturday. Happy. We've got Cash here today. We've got the voice of Alex coming over the Atlantic.
From a much calmer USA, it must be said.
He seems to have gone from his normal, beautiful bearded self to a round yellow face with a big frown.
I work better in the shadows anyway.
And Rich is about to join us too.
Excellent.
Here we come.
And it'd be wise not to start without Richard. Hello, Richard.
Got you in early today, Rich. Oh, he's muted.
You're on mute.
You're on mute.
There we
Somebody's got to say it, haven't they?
What's up, Richard?
Well, it is, yeah. Hi, US Wolf. Can we come over there? Watch some American football or something.
Well, it's much calmer over in the US. So whenever the pandemic's over, if we can, I feel tempted if I get a bit of money. That being anyway.
Yeah, it's not.
Over there.
It's not more calm. We're just pretending it doesn't exist.
Is it the calm before the storm? Yeah. Oh well.
Yes. Well, I feel like it might be the calm before. Well, was turned into a pretty big storm over here in terms of Wolves' season because, well, obviously that was not good in the slightest. Obviously, I think some all right individual performances, i.e. Højbjerg, and the way he was able to. The way I think standouts had to say Højbjerg, particularly to say that cross in the first half was brilliant, just showing that I think Jose realised quite quickly for him it was strange for him not to get onto it. I think it was the one from Højbjerg where he didn't. Well, I think it was the cross.
I think he was afraid to gamble, Jose, early on, and that's the difference. But
indeed, first game
a little more in the second half.
Yeah, first game for Jose. So even if that in the first half he was a little bit afraid to get onto that end of the cross from Højbjerg, I think Højbjerg generally was slightly surprised it was brought off, but didn't think he.
That cross surprised me, by the way, in the first half.
Didn't think he was too bad, particularly where he was able to run with the ball and hold it up nicely and get some crosses into the box. So, but obviously he's replacing Adama. If you saw the back of Adama's kit, it showed he worked hard and he was on the ball a lot. And defenders obviously having to nudge him off and got a few good crosses in as well. And some describing him as lazy. But in fact, he holds up the ball and waits to try and make a move, as he showed a couple of times, was all right. And
he ran back to save our skins. He just put the heart just off a bit after he went round.
Indeed, it was tremendous bit of defending. It was a blistering counter attack. It would have been a very lovely goal from Palace's perspective that had gone in, but the way in which Adama wanted to Adama did his bit defensively was excellent in that context. And then of course Jose, first half a bit quiet, but second half, say the header, which was a good save from the keeper, and then the way in which he's able to come onto the ball in the box was kind of how we've missed Raul, I have to say. That kind of touch.
His physical presence was reassuring today.
Exactly, that's what we need up front, and have needed up front since Raul was out injured. I say even if it was a good save from the keeper, the way in which he wrapped himself around the ball to strike it was a good sight.
I didn't think he had any right to get that, to be honest. I was surprised.
The defender could and should have done better. But it is a positive sign that in the second half he did line up. But apart from that, in terms of individual performances and us looking okay to say.
It looked okay defensively. Let's be perfectly honest. They had two shots. One was a break, and it was a bloody good break. And the second one was Ezra. He dropped his shoulder, Donk bought it, and there's a shot. Other than that, I'm not buying at all that defensively we were incredibly vulnerable. I mean,
no, defensively
pushed me wrong. The issue is obvious. There's zero creativity. We get the ball.
Exactly.
We don't go forward unless it's a run. Players will not pass and move forward, which has been said, and we're scared to take that risk in the final third because we know we're scared of conceding. And this is why we moved to a 4, to be more creative. Everyone's whinged and moaned that we're losing too many games. Now we've gone to a 5. We've lost the creative spark. So the question surely is, what do we want? Do we want to risk losing games by going forward the back and be defensively strong, which we were today, and we were against Chelsea? Or do we risk another player in the midfield or in attack and go for goals? That's what it comes down to. And with the personnel we've got
today, I'd just liked a midfield.
They kind of dominated it. They kind of dominated it until, but they just passed. They didn't go forward enough, though, did it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It looks like to me. I mean, it doesn't mean it's right, but it looks like to me that a lot of the time, those 3 forward players we've got are doing the job of the midfielders.
Yes,
and then
agree.
And then you've got 2 passengers sitting in front of the defence. For me, I thought Moutinho and Dendoncker were pretty anonymous and poor, to be honest. They got into positions. And
then Donker in the first. And then Donker in the first.
He knocks it sideways and he knocks it back. He might look occasionally for anything, but most of the time it's the easy ball back again. He makes himself available to take the ball and then gives it back. It's not exactly, like you say, Richard, it's not exactly adventurous stuff, and it's not exactly very dangerous. Dendoncker will get up there, but I don't know, he just doesn't.
He just can't finish. So what's the point?
No, he can't finish, and he should have. The way he went from Eze when Eze scored, yes, it was a lovely goal, and Patricio probably could have done a bit more with even if it was quite powerful. The way in which Dendoncker moved away at that point,
he turned his back.
It was inexcusable, quite frankly.
Yeah,
and he summed up his game. Except in the first 10 minutes, he got 2 or 3. He came in defensively, he got 2 or 3 good, decent blocks in, and thinking, okay, he's not. He looks all right today. He's looking hungry, trying to redeem himself. But from that point onwards, it was shocking, quite frankly.
He stands still too much for me. He runs up there and then stands still. Now, okay.
And that was one of the reasons. There was a ball that went up, and then there was a ball that went through. Yeah, there was a ball that. Yeah, there was a ball that Fabio Silva managed to get hold of, trying to put through, but then Donker was still, which is why the defender was able to get hold of it.
And you wonder why. I mean, that to me is indicative of the lack of creativity. You've got to look for the ball and gamble on it. You've got to gamble on it, and I think you're right, Bod. I don't think they were anonymous because they got a lot of the ball. The issue is there's no point giving it to them because they don't do anything with it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
What's more is,
but also they sit too deep. They're not in. For me, they're not midfielders. They're
just defenders, aren't they?
Auxiliary defenders. Yeah, they're just auxiliary defenders. They never seem to get. I mean, if they get to the halfway line, it's a miracle sometimes. And that's pulling back the front 3 into our half to do the work to win the ball back. And okay, they've got to come back some of the way, but God's sake, those midfielders have got to move up the pitch as well. The midfield's
if you watch other teams, even when they're around the halfway line, there's still 3 players behind them.
Yeah.
So we're attacking with 5 players against 10. You can put Bruno Fernandes in our team and he ain't going to do anything because he's going to be on the halfway line. And it comes down, to me, if Moutinho loses the ball further up, he's out of the game. He hasn't got the pace to get back. Then you're on to Cody. And if you go past him, he's out of the game. So for me, the reason we are very defensive there is we need pace somewhere who can get back. I think that's Nuno's thinking, is we can't lose the ball because if Cody is where Moutinho or Neves usually is, playing those balls, which nearly every other team, the full-backs are receiving and recycling all the time, not the midfielders. And then if you press Cody, Bolly, and whoever's on the left, and you win the ball 40 yards out, it's a what we used to call an American penalty, isn't it? Where you've got a run on goal with just the goalkeeper to beat.
Yeah.
So you've got to you can't if you play how I think most of us would want it to play. We have to accept we are going to concede more.
Yeah.
Now, funnily enough, we didn't.
If we concede a goal like that one today, then there's not much point playing defensive. There is no point. If you're going to concede a goal that easily, you may as well just give up defensive football
and pay attacking, because we've got the attackers. We've absolutely got the attackers. But I mean, I think Vitinha, for me, he's meant to be a very creative player, and he gets the ball. There was a point where Semedo had the ball. I think he played it to Semedo. There was massive amounts of space in front of the ref. All he had to do was advance 5 meters and get the ball. And instead he went backwards instinctively, and that's got to be trained into him. A natural attacking flair player does not instinctively move back. And
no, there was a lot I noticed.
For me, was he uncomfortable though on the left side?
Sorry?
Was he uncomfortable on the left side?
Yes.
I'll be honest, I think Semedo's, I feel like that has a lot to do with it.
I genuinely feel that Semedo's had his best 2 games on the left.
Yeah. No, some people were some people criticize. Some people having trying to criticize him still. But these last 2 games on the left, of course, it's a shame that we picked up his knock, and obviously Saiss obviously also picked up a knock apparently, I think, in training ahead of Chorley, which he hasn't fully shaken off. But I don't think he's been too shabby down that left hand side. And yet,
sorry. US Wolf, were you making the point? I wasn't saying Semedo didn't make the plus. I'm saying Vitinha didn't make the run. Semedo always looks to play forward. Is that what you meant, US Wolf?
No, I thought I misheard which player you were talking about.
No, Vitinha. I was saying if Vitinha played the ball to Semedo, he always looks forward. Vitinha moved back to receive the ball again. That was my point. So it's not a criticism of Semedo. I think Semedo is the first game I saw him, I thought is actually a level above our players, and the reason was because he looks to play forward all the time. And obviously Nuno will try and probably coach that out of him, but we just don't gamble. And I've said before, and I'll say it. If I'm a defender at 55, I'm thinking, you know what, I could probably shuffle from side to side in a back line, a rank of 4 playing against Wolves, because you know nobody's going to run at you unless you're on the wings. You know, if you're in the middle, all you have to do is shuffle from side to side and shuffle from side to side, because nobody's going to come through the middle. Nobody's going to try and play through the middle. So I don't have to worry. I could do it, for half the game. If we win the ball, obviously I ain't going to go anywhere, But I just think we have to, as Bod said, we've got to have the defenders doing the recycling, and we've got to cause more pressure on the 10 to 20, 30 yards out through the centre, because that will free up space on the wings as well. Then you can push in, but you're going to lose the ball, and you're going to have to accept you're going to concede. And I think 4 at the back was what we're trying to do there. We were trying to be more creative, but what killed us then were individual mistakes. And today, I don't blame Donker for that, to be honest. It was a hell of a shot. You could see from in slow motion it was fast.
So for me, though, it's him turning away. He's turned away.
Yeah,
that's for me. What are you doing as a defensive player, turning away?
Yeah,
I know he got sold by the dummy, but he still turned away. I was just like, oh no, just no. That's not what we need.
Well, we definitely need to shake something up, don't we? Because
was Neves injured or something?
Don't think so. I think he was simply dropped.
Is he not fully fit or something? Because I couldn't understand why he wouldn't be playing.
The only reason I could think of is because we've got Arsenal on. Is it Tuesday?
Early on. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Let me have a look.
I think Tuesday.
Yeah. So I just wondered if it was give Moutinho the easier game, but we're not generating.
It's kind of that point though where I don't think any of the 4 of us are in the Nuno out camp at all. But as far as Fosun's perspective, what are the next couple of matches? What we got? Arsenal and Leicester.
Arsenal, Leicester City.
Is there a chance that they're going over options?
One hope with Leicester is Vardy's out, isn't he?
Well,
he's gone for his operation.
Yes, and he's on my fantasy league bench, so I need to get rid of him with him being out for a bit.
Yeah.
But it's a no. Who knows in football? Loyalty in football is nothing. I think as was demonstrated by Chelsea earlier on in the week.
I do think with 2 days left, 2 days left to the windows, and it finishes on the 1st of February.
11 o'clock on 11 o'clock UK time on Monday, which is 6 p.m. in the US.
If they're going to get rid, they would have done it now. So I think Nuno's safe. If you look at the result, I mean,
nor should he.
No, I just can't see it.
No, I don't think he should go either. I think he should but he needs to have a. I don't know. As I said, I mentioned it before, but is it worth just having someone to come in and just give a different perspective, just for a bit, even if it's just? I mean, you might be doing that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I think they need a creative. Defensively, when we set up, we can set up against Arsenal and we can set up against Leicester. And we can do damage on the break, but it's been the same ever since we got into the Premier League and we played teams who sat back. We've never ever been able to break them down because we've never ever been creative enough. I'm going back to the first season of the Prem, the second. Not so much the Europa League where I think it was a bit different, but that problem's always existed. And the positive I take from this season is that he was trying to change it with 4 at the back. I think that's a huge positive.
I think
it may not have worked, but if you,
I do feel.
Yeah, I think we go back to 3 against stronger times.
Yeah.
Against Palace, I would have preferred a 4.
Yeah, Hammy. I was hoping to see that today because I was thinking, with our new striker in there. We can go forward at the back and play and with Podence back from injury, we could play the 3 behind him and really get some supply in there. But I was a little bit disappointed. I'm not going to lie, I was very disappointed when I saw the team lineup. To be honest, I thought that was disturbingly disturbing for me. I'm like, and I was like, all right, well, let's see what happens. But. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
I think everybody's just in a. I think there's a lot of reflection.
It's like we don't have a plan on how to attack. We set up to defend, and then we'll just see what happens with the attack. So
as was the case on Wednesday, in all honesty, and as you mentioned,
and playing 3 at the back. If we're going to play 3 at the back. When we played 3 at the back in the first season, the second season in the Premiership, our counter-attacks were quick. They were fast counter-attacks.
That vitality is gone.
We don't have faster counter-attacks anymore. We just have, I don't know what they are, really.
We played West Ham. I think it was West Ham United like 2 years ago today, 2 years yesterday or something at Molineux. And I think one of those was a counter-attack which Raul finished off brilliantly, and that kind of counter-attack from Palace today, which obviously Zaha just smacked off the woodwork, which is probably still shaking now. That was the kind of counter-attack we've just lost. That kind of zip. I know why. That's a massive disappointment. The only time we've done it this season is Pedro scoring the winner against Chelsea back in December.
The perfect example of us not doing the same in terms of counter-attack is we've had a corner against us and we're 1-0 down and we've brought every single player back. Why?
Not good. Yeah.
You crowd the box. It just gives. I don't get. I mean, everybody. I mean, okay, if you want to bring most of them back, I've got no problem with bringing back Willian back for his aerial ability in terms of defence. Yeah, stick Traore on the halfway line. They are not going to leave him 1-on-1. There's no team. I don't care. There's no team in the division will leave Traore on a corner on his own on the halfway line. They will put 2 defenders there.
I don't get that. I mean, or Neto. Whoever's
or
not
Neto, or Neto,
defensively.
Either or.
I would rather leave Traore because I think Neto. I mean, one thing I would say on on the Chelsea one, which I had to cook dinner for, so I missed your chat, is that I thought where Traore was abysmal in that game is his pressing was awful. He just stands there and looks, oh, I think I'll move now. If in that situation, you've always got to adjust. You've always got to pressure. The pressure might just be covering a pass off, but you've always got to be doing something if you're pressing from the front. And he just didn't in that. So for me, yeah, you leave him on the halfway line and you just put the ball into space, because there's going to be a big centre half on him, or a fast centre half if they're wise. So you put the ball into space. And especially if you've got a keeper who likes to come out. I mean, you saw his pace today. Jesus.
Oh, yeah. When he came back to defend that, I was just about to say that. The speed that he came past was absolutely outstanding.
Why aren't we using that? Why aren't we using
and yet
that?
some people online, many online, are describing him as lazy. Give me a break. Did you see the back of his shirt with the dirt and stuff on it? That is an effort. He was on for half an hour. He was on for half an hour, and much of his shirt was mucky as hell because the way he was able to get round defenders and the way obviously them tackle him into which he got his 2 or 3 corners, I think, from his runs and so forth, and his crosses obviously caused a few problems. It's ridiculous.
The reason people think he's lazy is because he hasn't got some players, and you see it mainly in older players like Teddy Sheringham would be a great, where they just appear in places you think, why is he running? Oh shit, he scored. How did he do that? How did he know the ball was going there? Some players just have that ability to read the game. Traore watches the game and then reacts.
And he watched it.
He just does not have that footballing brain. He just doesn't have it. You can see he's standing there.
I disagree on that, because I've watched him play.
Really?
I've watched him play some lovely little through balls where he hasn't. He's decided to not run, and he's seen the guy making the run, and he's just threaded a ball through for some other run. I mean, it went nowhere after that, but I've seen him do that in several games.
I'm not talking about offensively.
Oh, defensively.
I'm talking about when we haven't got the ball. When we haven't got the ball, he just doesn't seem to be adjusting to what's happening around him. He's just too static. I don't think he's lazy, and it might be that he's just trying to drift out of the game to receive it. I'm willing to accept that, but when defensively, he just doesn't seem to, unless it's like, I'm going to tackle you, which case is fine, closing down, all that. It's the off the ball movement, and that's what I mean. He just doesn't, for me, do it. I thought today, the point you made, he made a great run in and played the ball in. He cut in, played the ball in. I've no problem with any of that aspect of his play. No problem when he's offensive. It's just that defensive off the ball movement, for me, why people probably think he is lazy. And for me, it's just he just doesn't think that way. It just doesn't occur to him to do that.
He's not defensively minded. He's an attacking player.
He's an attacking player who wants to cause problems, get crosses in, make assists, and as he showed against Palace earlier in the month, score screamers as he did, as he sometimes can.
It's the same argument as why Dendoncker can't finish. He's a defensive player.
And Dendoncker's shown that in the last few games. Dendoncker's shown that in the last few games.
I think with Dendoncker, he switches off. I think he loses concentration.
As was the case as I think potentially with the case with the goal, because to say the way he moved away was inexcusable. If you're in a defensive midfielder, you've got to stick your leg out. Stick your leg out when that ball comes to you.
Well, he's done by that point, but
honestly, the fact he moved away.
I think that's what
he's out of form.
Someone turn away. No.
I think
the thing is, when he came back from injury, he was first game back from injury. He was great. He was really good.
But since then, he's just
great. What's what we're missing? But every game
since then, he's just fallen off the cliff. He and João both deserve to be dropped. It should be Otazawa and Vitinha getting much more playing time than those two, in all honesty. To put it bluntly.
The question is, though, who on here then would go to 4? I think for the next 3 games, I would be next 2 games. Arsenal, don't really fear them, but they've got quality. Would you go back to a 5 for Arsenal and back to a 5 for Leicester?
Well, considering we played 5 today and lost, and it was on the whole a poor performance. Well, how many would really want to? Yeah.
Seven. 7-2-1.
Yeah, that might work.
And the way in which Leicester play, when Leicester in the mood, blimey, they're in the mood.
They've got
don't hang around. Yeah, Maddison.
A lot of their goals are counters,
for example,
or very good play from Vardy.
What I would like to see is 4 at the back. 4 at the back, and a 4-2-3-1 is my personal preferred formation.
4-2-3-1.
4-3-3 works as well.
Yeah.
But even it doesn't really matter, to be honest. For me, it still comes down to mentality. You could play 4-3-3, you could play whatever. If you're going to sit everyone in your own half, if you're going to bring everybody back for every single corner and have absolutely no counter-attack outlet, it's irrelevant what formation you play.
Indeed.
If you've got no general plan on how to attack, then you're in trouble. It doesn't matter.
And I mean, we are in trouble.
Clean sheets, but we're not getting clean sheets. We got 1 clean sheet against Chelsea by parking the bus, the coach company, several airlines, and something else in our own half.
Yeah.
We had 0 attacking threat because we just weren't willing really to do in that game.
And the only way we almost got him was thanks to Pedro on Wednesday.
But that is classic counter-attack football. If you look at the XG, we had the better XG by 0.01 than Chelsea.
Oh,
so as a model, you can't. As a model, that's
more luck than judgment. That was more luck than judgment for me. That wasn't.
I disagree. I think Pedro one-on-one. I think Pedro one-on-one.
Yeah. That he made that himself.
Is what you're playing for there.
Deserved better. He crafted it himself, but just couldn't find the finish, and that's the problem.
There's no structure to these counters, though.
But the point
exactly
with at least 3 players. Okay, 2 usually, and a third one joining it. That
can say Pedro's counter against Chelsea back in December was good because he had a couple of other men that steamed forward at the same time, where he then obviously was able to find the corner and won us the points. But yeah, where's that imagination when going forward? Because I think when some of these things today, say only 1 or 2 players who are really attacking the ball, i.e. Jose, for example, with obviously the shot around his shot, which wrapped around the header, which was again a good one where he was able to climb above the defender. But that's all. And that's why I think personally we need not just a 4-2-3-1, but a 4-2-3-1 which actually has those attacking minded players. So I'm afraid João and Leander on the bench, surely. Neves, he can ping some marvellous balls and do his defensive work round. But then also Atazari, he's got that. He's got that strength and endeavour.
I'll be honest with Neves, it's not the passing ability that we missed today. It was his actual defensive midfield play.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also one thing that really cheesed me off. One thing that also the one thing that really cheesed me off, and I think probably part of us missing him today was the amount of time which Dendoncker either 1 gave the ball away, 2 gave away a silly foul, or just 3 just didn't respond. And that if that was Neves, then he would have done a much better job. And I think, as I say, Leander was simply not in form and doesn't deserve to start. He's got so much ability, as you've shown in the last 2 seasons, but he's certainly not showing any sort of it at the moment. And that's why I say, if we go to say back to 4 and then 2 in the middle.
I'm not sure whether I'm not buying it's completely Dendoncker's fault. I just don't think he's.
No, it's not completely.
But as he showed today, he's not. As he showed today, he's not. He's not on it. He's not on it.
I think I do think with Neves on, we probably don't concede that goal because he's defensively, Neves's game since we came to the Premiership has developed very well. The problem with Neves is he's too deep in a with a three at the back. He's not mobile enough to go forward far enough, but you can live with that if you're on a 4 because he is better defensively than Moutinho would be on a break. So you can probably live with that. But the question I think which is key, and I think it's been one of the issues that we've literally had. Not people mention it, but with a 4 at the back, it's crucial. Who do you play in a 4?
At the moment,
because
at the moment, personally, I would actually play with the players we've got available today. From if I was lining it up today, I would definitely kept with the fullbacks as they were. I thought I think Semedo plays quite well on the left. I genuinely do, and I really like Quaver. I really do. I think he's.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Bearing in mind he's so young. My God, he looks.
He's 19 or 20, isn't he? Still remember the fact.
He does not play with the naivety of the state.
Exactly, and there's still some people on the mix and online who are criticising him. What's the point? Did you not see that first half in which, as I say, some of the balls he whipped in and the way he was able to hold up and just run?
He's
Come on!
As well.
He's a very bright young man who we've got on our cards. Who
there? There's your fullbacks.
And then who at centre back is the
centre back.
And then who at centre back?
At the moment, then with the players who are available today, because just due to all we've got I'm afraid it is going to be. Sorry, Cody, you're on the bench. It's going to be Bolly and Kilman.
Kilman, yeah.
Because Stace isn't available because I'd have Stace normally, but it would be Bolly and Kilman.
And what we're then losing there is organisation.
Yeah. Absolutely. Oh yeah. And
I think you have to have Neves then. You've got to have Neves then in front.
Because Ruben has been captain.
And I would.
Ruben. Yeah. Exactly. Ruben has been a captain under Ruben was a captain in the Champions League game, I think, wasn't he? Was it that 5-0 against Leicester? I think.
I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. No,
in 2016, I don't know.
And to me,
but there's leadership and organisation. Yeah. As I say, Cody,
you've hit the nail on the head. But
Cody's a great man, but not on the basis of, say, recently, go to 4 at the back, then we've got to use the players who are in form. And it's painful considering Cody obviously was at the height of his powers.
For me, it's more the fact that if you're playing 2 centre-backs, they've got to win everything in the air. Cody is not going to win everything in the air. They've got to be better defenders. And you've got to be an absolute horse for that course, playing a 2. He can do it, but he'll need a better centre back than we've probably got, or one of ours on absolute form to compensate. The only other way you could probably do it is you've got a better defensive midfielder who can fill in with legs, and he's probably too young at the moment. But Otasowie to me looks like physically he's absolutely got that presence. Aerially and
I say coming into the midfield of the 2, that's who I would have at the moment.
I
would have Otasowie and Neves at the moment.
Exactly.
I think at the moment as well in the 4, Kilman would benefit from having Semedo on his side, help.
Or Johnny if he came back.
Oh God, Johnny is a player we are missing. Johnny is an awesome player, and he's the biggest for me.
Johnny and Semedo. Yeah, Johnny, Semedo, Bolly, and Kilman, and then Otasowie, Neves, and then attacking options. I don't think we've got a problem. But to me, if you look at the games where we've lost, it's been individual mistakes every time. Apart from today, I don't think I'm not taking that as an individual mistake. But when we've been in a 4, we've been more creative, scored more goals. And my point always is, if you are conceding 2, 3, or 4 goals, you are not going to win. Whereas if you've got a better defence and then I think that it's a fine balance for me, and it comes it comes in having the big kahunas to make the hard decision. And also, if you're a true leader, if you're Cody, you go and Nuno has that chat, you've got to be the big man to say, I understand that decision. Yeah. And then you get into the dressing room politics. So for me, there's it's kind of a tipping point. The whole Nuno out stuff, it all comes down to, can you make the big decisions? Because you look at that team, Kilman, Semedo, and Johnny. They've got four. Well, they're all young. Bolly's knocking on a bit, which is where you want your succession planning. Then you go forward. Neves, 23, 24. Yeah. Otasawa, even Dendonka, in fairness, is quite young. Saiz, he's getting on a bit. And then you go forward, and apart from Raul, and I think Jose, it's all young. I look at that team and think, my God, you get a top quality centre back, and we've talked about it before, but Diaz now, you're looking at a team which is championship winning in a few seasons.
Yeah, and even I think it sounded like Diaz was trending on Twitter again and whatever else today, because even though
Diaz and Cancelo.
Diaz slipped from our grasp. We should have jumped at it when we took it.
We have got Hoovia. I mean, Hoovier's 18. That means.
And Højbjerg can play at centre back as well. Yeah, Højbjerg can play at centre back as well.
How is he at centre back? Because he could be the right player to slot into there, but I know he doesn't really see himself in that sort of role. He sees himself in a more attacking role, doesn't he? But I don't know. If you don't enjoy that sort of defensive work, some people do, some people don't. If you don't enjoy it, I imagine you try and move away from it in your career. I don't know how professional footballers think in that sense.
Yeah. But, indeed.
But
I think a lot of it will come down to how fast you are. I mean, if he's and it's not just out and out pace, it's the ability just to 2-3 yards. You can be slow at running, but if you can generate that power just to make the first few yards, you
oh yeah, that little bit of acceleration is what does it all.
Yeah,
both ends of the pitch.
Indeed.
So I'm not. The thing I'm really, and I'm with Bod on this. For me, it's the negativity in not taking the risks to go out and score goals, because you can't win games. You can only lose games if you do not score.
And that's what cost us the Champions. And that's what partly cost us the Champions League spot last season.
But on top of that,
exactly. And
so on top of that, I think as well, for a team that we're a team that's very well drilled. We've got, in defensively very well drilled. I don't know, but what we don't appear to be is so well drilled going forwards. We need to have that attacking plan in the same way as we have the defensive plan. Because if we've got players who are well drilled, they follow instructions. They are less likely in their mindset, because of being so drilled on the other stuff. They're going to be less likely to go, right, well, I'm going to be, now I've got the freedom to do. They're not going to think like that. They're going to be, well, what do I do here? He's here. What do I do? If that's not happening, I don't believe it's not happening. That's absurd.
Well,
but I don't think there's as much emphasis on it as there is maybe on the defensive side, which maybe there needs to be a bit more balanced in terms of the offense and defense. And that was for the benefit of Alex, because he's in America.
Thank you.
Although Alex though can surely go mad considering the Chiefs at the Super Bowl again.
I do have my distractions this week, don't I? And my Cardinals just traded for one of the best players in baseball, so I'll be all right.
Yes, exactly. Fingers crossed you beat Tom Brady and his gang next weekend. Who would you say man of the match is from our point?
Crossbar.
He did his job. He's probably still shaking at the minute, because that was a hell of a hit from Zaha. So would have been a lot.
And it was on the underside too. I'm surprised it popped out.
It would have been a crack. I will say it would have been a cracking goal if that had gone in, considering the way they just burst forward and absolutely blitzed us. And thank goodness Adama managed to put the defender just off. From our point, man in the match. I can't really think. In all
I
honesty,
really like Jose. I don't know. I feel really good about him moving forward. I think when he gels with the side, he's going to score goals for us. And if we're going to stay,
exactly, if we can get those 4,
stay this. If we're going to stay up, which I'm sure we'll stay up, but it's going to be his contribution. I think he's going to be
Neto on the left, Podence in the
genius.
Neto on the left, Podence in the middle, Adama on the right, Jose at front. Those 4 hopefully interlinking at some point. Then I'm sure we'll be fine. If Nuno decides to play that way.
See, for me, man of the match is it works. There's 3 players that I've got in my mind. It's either Favor, because I thought he actually played quite well, Semedo, or Kilman. I thought actually brought the ball out of defence really well and brought it forwards. Which
very calm as well.
Going back to that, that's something we used to do a lot. That's something that Bolly used to do.
It. Yeah,
and we've been missing for a bit.
And we haven't done that for a long time. And I saw Kilman was doing that.
Kilman did that a good 4 or 5 times today.
Yeah. Well, that's it. He looked. He looked
not only that,
side of the side, saw a space, and he went into it, and that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I wish our midfielders would do that. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what the midfielders need to do more of.
I'd go for Kilman.
I think thinking about that, Max, even obviously the defence was. What could you do for the goal with the Weymouth? Obviously, it was set up.
That wasn't his part. That wasn't his.
Exactly.
Goal.
You're relying on midfielder.
I think I would agree. I think particularly the way in which he was able to. He didn't just do that once or twice. I think he did it 4 or 5 times and turned it away. Max held up the ball. Held up the ball. Came forward with it.
Defending, which was good. His defending was good. He's bringing that into his game and having the intelligence to spot.
It's going to be important.
It's absolutely essential. And if we stick to 3 at the back, that is absolutely essential for him to be doing that.
Indeed, it is beyond critical for him to be doing that and to continue to do that because if at some point it will click and it will link, but obviously it didn't help that Leander or João were just nowhere near it at the time. But he was able to as well, not just sticking passes to left and right, but the way he was able to run forward and then actually spot a few men. I think he was able to get a few balls over to Hoiberg as well. So I'd say Kilman.
So
again.
We go with, is this going to be a unanimous 4-way tie for the Kilman
4-0?
I think US Wolf went for Jose.
Oh, did you? Sorry, Alex.
Yeah.
Honourable mentions though to Hoiberg and to Semedo and to Jose because they were decent. They were decent. Those 4 were the better players today. Yes, it's they definitely, I think, all have massive roles to play. And obviously, if Jose on another day would have put those chances in, it was just a decent show from Palace's keeper as well when it came to it, and those saves being rather decent ones from Goyata. So what can we really do? It's on another day that probably would have gone. At least one of those would have gone in, and we would have saved our skins. So yes, in. A transfer window as well shuts on Monday, and it seems the only thing that really going to happen is Patrick is off, even though it suggested was all the rumours in the last week and a half or so whether he's going to stay or go. It seems like Valencia is calling.
I wish we weren't doing that.
Yeah,
unless we've got another person to bring in. But
indeed, until Raul comes, comes back.
That's the problem, isn't it? It happened. Well, if he's not happy, then he's not happy. You can't do much about that.
Indeed.
Indeed. You've got to think of it. You've got to think of this one as well. You can't have. The last thing you want in this scenario is somebody moping around,
feeling unhappy.
I said before, you've got to do right by players. You're talking about high earning, highly valuable players, and if you want to bring the next person in, they want to know that if it doesn't work out, you're going to treat them right. This gets around in the game. So in terms of bringing somebody in, if there is somebody available who can do a job, I'm sure that, and the price is right, they will. But it's more about the summer recruitment for me.
Yeah.
I don't think we're a million miles away. I just think we have to change our attitude, and we just have to.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing for me.
And,
yeah.
Just accept that the youngsters will make mistakes, but give the front players the options with midfield, and just get them to gel a bit more. That's all they need.
And indeed, he showed Jose can get that kind of service, but I think we still do need another kind of physical guy up front. And somebody can also put it in the back of the net. And I know there was a fair bit of clamouring on the mix last night because of Rafa Mir coming up with a hat-trick for Huesca last night in La Liga.
He won't come back. He does not want to be here.
Yeah, yes, indeed.
He's another one who didn't settle in the country, so it's all very well. He might be playing well where he's comfortable, but if he comes back here and is uncomfortable, unhappy, nobody performs to their best when they're unhappy.
Indeed. Huesca, though, that was only Huesca's second win of the entire season, so they are bottom and struggling.
What I mean, there is a lesson here, and there's a really big lesson here, and this is if you looked at Rafa Mir when he came on, I think it was against Forest. In the championship, and he was as bad. No, he was a lot worse than Silva, and he got hammered. He's not physical enough. He doesn't have the blah blah blah.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
look at him now. The guy's a bully. You're not going to mess with that guy. He was that much taller than any other player on the pitch. So have faith in your youth. Have faith in them.
Indeed. Just to say, Pedro
in the Premier League, not the Championship.
Indeed.
Gonzalez, but he wasn't happy. You can't keep him. You can't. We've been very lucky with. You think of the players who've come over here: Jota, Neves, Neto. We've got who's the other young one? We had Vinagre who stuck it out. Yeah, it didn't work out. We've got. We had Cavallero, didn't we? We had Costa. All of them have kind of made it. I mean, Cavallero today did well.
Yeah, very good diving header against the Albion.
That's success.
Indeed,
so that's success that we can do it.
Indeed, Cavallero with a crucial header actually in terms of because I mean obviously it cancelled each other out. So I don't think there was any points that was moved forward.
If we are worried about relegation.
Yes, just looking down.
To be brutally honest. You can't be complacent.
No,
and we might have to. But I feel like if we just open the door to a bit more adventurousness, like Bod said, and to going forward, I just feel that it's there. I just feel it's so close.
I'd love to see us move.
It just has to come down to. Yeah.
And I we very much doubt as well.
Like table football.
Yeah.
Like table football.
I very much
you've
doubt.
Just got your rows, aren't you?
I'm guessing as well. I guess we're all very much doubting that we're going to do any further incomings ahead of Monday's deadline as well. Just on the subject, it looks like it's going to be Catrone out and then no one else in, which will no doubt
Mbappe wants out.
Cheese many of the fan base off. But what can we do?
Defensively though, Adrian, is he good defensively? Alex, sorry, is he good defensively?
Mbappe? Who cares?
Yeah, because he's going to be doing a lot of defending if it comes to Wolves.
You want about Mbappe because of the there's all sorts of rumours, isn't there?
He's going to Liverpool though, isn't he?
Oh, you've had the Project Mbappe trending for about 4 years. It seems like Project Mbappe and whatever else, all partly because also Nike becoming Liverpool's shirt manufacturers.
Liverpool's problem is again their defence, though, isn't it?
Which is why they've stalled in recent weeks, except until
because defensively they can't take the risks offensively that they used to be able to because they're getting hammered if they do. They haven't got any defenders. So the championships are always won from the back.
I know someone has also suggested
you can go back. Man City lost it because when they lost to Liverpool because they just didn't. They conceded a few too many goals.
Yep.
Like by us, So we build from the back, but attack from the front. Easy.
Indeed, yes, indeed. I know someone has also suggested.
Go on.
I know someone also on the mix suggested Julian Draxler, because I think PSG are unhappy with him and want to get rid of him. His wages, though. Attacking midfielder.
Going to happen. If why would he come into nominally a relegation battle?
Yeah. Why would he want to downgrade?
Really? And are we going to get some? You might, with some players, you can get their wages subsidised, but I doubt if.
I'd say, and not necessarily be considered the number one either.
Yeah.
The number one pick. There's no guarantee of that either, because we've got Willian in. So I don't know. I'm not. As I say, I'd like to keep Cutrone, but if he's simply not happy, he's not happy. Then it's okay, fine. But I'm not sure that, like you say, Rich. I'm not sure that we even need necessarily someone right now. It is mentality and being ready to just risk a few things through the middle. A bit of risk aversion in the middle of the park. Push them play. Only play one of the midfielders as the defensive one. Let the other one a bit more higher up the pitch, maybe. Just things like that. Yeah. And with four at the back.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to next August. So
yes.
I wonder if I'm surprised as well. We haven't produced any hot takes so far.
My hot take is still the same. We're going to win the FA Cup. I don't think it gets hotter than that.
Southampton don't want to. Southampton on a Thursday night at 5:30. I know that's after work. I know that's half an hour after work, but still, 5:30.
Your work, maybe. Not mine.
What time do you work till, Bod?
Oh, I could be working until then.
It's on BT Sport again, I know. So it's all going to be fun getting it all set up.
So our next game is what? Is that the next game, the FA Cup? Or is it
no. So we've got Arsenal and Leicester City beforehand. We have Arsenal at, I think it is 6 o'clock on Tuesday. So we're less than 72 hours away already. As Arsenal, they're currently drawing against Man United, by the way. Martin Ødegaard has joined them on loan and is on the bench. Just as an observation. Yeah, 6 p.m. 6 p.m. on Tuesday against Arsenal.
What are you reckoning?
They did us well. We did them well at Molineux 2 seasons ago when beaten 3-1. They got very good revenge, obviously last season, which was which began to kill off our Champions League hopes. Obviously, we need a result though. Obviously, I very much hope we don't park the bus against Chelsea, against Arsenal as we did on Wednesday gone against Chelsea, but who knows? Because knowing a point would be fairly nice against Arsenal. And when they're good, they're good. But when they're good, they're good. But when they're not, as we showed in November, I think in the circumstances though where we just summoned all that courage and energy after Rouse smack to the head. Obviously, I think made the circumstances quite unique. Too tough to call. Again, Arsenal are still like us Arsenal and Chelsea are all having those very much hot and cold seasons. And who knows? I think they will drag something out. I will go with a 1-1 draw. Arsenal, I think, will score, but we'll hopefully see it as an opportunity to hopefully come forward and be positive. Because as we were against Arsenal, we were positive going forward. Both the goals against Arsenal were excellent. I would say, obviously, Podence's goal against Arsenal was magical. The way he jumped over the defender and then left him for dust was glorious. And we have scored against Arsenal, I think, in all but that game last season at Molineux, I think, since we've come back up. So
1-1 then for you.
I will go with a diplomatic draw, but a draw which will hopefully give some confidence knowing that if we actually come forward and show our attacking promise, as we have done in the past against them, and have scored a fair few goals as well. I think we've scored 6 or 7 against Arsenal in our 5 league games against them, trying to do some maths. So
Okay, Alex, what do you think?
Not as optimistic. The way we're playing, I don't see us getting points off of the big teams for the remainder of the year unless it's a 0-0 draw. So I don't think that'll happen. I think we'll lose comfortably 2-0, probably 3-0. And then I think we'll just be getting our points from teams below us, and hopefully 3 or more teams remain that way the remainder of the year, which I think they will. But I don't see us playing up to the level of the competition. So I'll go 2-0 to Arsenal.
Okay, Rich?
Well, I'm going to, unlike Alex, I'm not going to apply logic to this one. So I'm going to go for blind, naive optimism. If we play through at the back, I think we might nick it 1-0. If we go for back four, I think it would probably be more goals in it, and we'll win probably 2-1 or 3-2.
Okay.
Well,
and Bod?
Like I said, I've no logic.
Well, I think, forget this then. After watching this video, Nuno and the team will take in a fantastic diagnosis and realise that we were right, and then just change the whole attitude a little bit, and push the team up a bit more and be prepared to take those mistakes. And they'll absolutely smash Arsenal 7-1.
Well, if Brentford could beat Wycombe 7-2
Can
today,
you send what you're drinking up to me in Nottingham?
You have a more realistic scoreboard, please.
That's all I can say. Watch this space. That's my prediction.
What do you got? Real quick, what do you guys have in the Super Bowl, if you care?
I do.
Super Bowl. Chiefs all the way. Go Chiefs.
Oh, man.
Are you still sticking with 7-1?
Oh, it's on. Alex, I would. Are the Chiefs the underdogs?
No, they're favored by 3.5 points, which is
all right. Well, I'll go for the Patriots. No, I'll go.
Just to rub it in. Don't be harsh. He's a big Chiefs fan. They obviously are going
Sorry, I didn't know.
They're going for a back-to-back Super Bowl wins, I think, isn't it? The Chiefs. It'd be a hell of an achievement if they do. When was the last time that happened?
The Patriots in 02, 03, something like that. It's been about 20 years.
Wow. That'd be nice to stop Tom Brady. It'd be nice if Tom Brady got sacked again as he did in 18. And seeing when that happened, I must say, the whole of the student bar up at Hallam went bonkers when Tom Brady was sacked. Yeah, it'll be interesting just to keep an eye on. And obviously, we've still got Leicester next. What time's Leicester? Leicester's before the Super Bowl, so I'm guessing maybe another discussion prior to it would be
there'll be another discussion where we'll be discussing how the Nuno and the team had listened to us and how we smashed Arsenal 7-1.
It'd be nice if we can smash Arsenal 7-1. They should certainly. I think it would be great if maybe again if they could if the guys could watch the video of us absolutely annihilating Arsenal in 18-19, April 2019, and the way we absolutely just blitzed them in the first half, then make them think, how can we play like that?
They won't need to. The when they're back, they'll just play this video back to them in the next training set, and the reality will dawn. Sorry,
Alex, are the fans in the Super Bowl, or is it empty stadium?
There will be about 20,000, I think. I think it's an 80,000 seater. Most of them are health professionals.
Yeah, limited. Yeah. I think the NFL did announce something on social media that most of the tickets have gone to key workers, which is a very good gesture. And also, I think finally on a very good gesture, even if obviously things on the pitch are not looking too healthy, what Nuno did off the pitch this week, I'm sure has made many hearts and many minds be filled massively with his £250,000 donation to the Feed Our Pack initiative run by the Wolves Foundation and thanks to a match donation from the Premier League's PFA PFA Community Fund, and obviously, I think what that would do, if it's a 3 years, £500,000 is it's an extraordinary general. It's an extraordinary gesture.
He's a genuinely fantastically lovely man.
Absolutely, and it's a most brilliant thing to do. And having been someone who, in the past, and with my family, have had to have safe help from food banks in years gone by. It will mean so much to so many, and hopefully maybe that might give the lads some kind of motivation, maybe knowing that we're helping off the pitch in terms of that community feel. And if we can bring that kind of motivation onto it, then it might help. I think it will help, because it's such an extraordinary thing to do, and it does show that Nuno, he's leaving a legacy at the club. And
well, I just hope he isn't. We're not being premature by saying legacy, because
yes,
I think there's a lot more to come.
Yeah.
Indeed, let's hope it doesn't end with drama.
What he didn't have to do that. People have said some things which are very objectionable about PR stunts and things like that. I just don't think he's got that in him, and the reason is, if you watch, he does not like the limelight. That guy, he just wants to do the right thing.
I've some people I know who are in the media team at Wolves, and he doesn't enjoy that side of the game at all. Apparently, he does it, and he's very professional about it, but he doesn't. So there is absolutely no chance on this earth that he's doing that for media limelight. Not a chance. Absolutely no way. That's just a genuinely nice person, and the thing is, the way he talks about it, it comes across genuine. I don't believe for 1 minute that there's any sort of, in fact, in some ways, there's almost an embarrassment to what he's doing. And you know what I mean? He's not, because he doesn't want that attention. He just wants something, it's a genuine thing. So, kudos to him. You just can't knock it. You really can't knock it.
Absolutely. I think that's a good point to end, as well as actually, I know someone on the team versus Arsenal thing, I think, enjoyed Hoover and put him twice in his team prediction on both his left and right back. So, bit of sly humour, I think.
Technology might come up to speed in a few weeks.
Maybe, yes, but
you found that thread that's not doom and gloom.
We'll do. We'll end
on that kind of positive note.
End it. And we'll be back on Tuesday.
On Tuesday at about 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock,
yeah, about 8 o'clock.
About 8 o'clock on Tuesday. And anyone else fancy joining us?
He took the words out of my mouth. Fantastic, yeah. If you want to join us, we'll be back then. Good night, all.
Adios. Have a good evening, and have a good afternoon, Alex. We're being 24